For months and months, Democrats have been fighting to get the Senate to address the health care crisis. This bill does nothing to ensure that that crisis is addressed. I am voting no, and I will keep fighting.
One Democrat who has campaigned for and endorsed him is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Would you like to see her primary Chuck Schumer?
I would like Alex to do whatever it is that Alex wants, and I'll be there to support her.
Okay, well, breaking news. If you were skeptical, it is now official. The pathetic loser Democrats have officially caved, and the funding bill to reopen the U.S. government and stop the Schumer shutdown has officially passed in the Senate tonight with the necessary 60 votes required to clear the filibuster. And there you have it. Now, it's worth noting that this did not come without drama, because apparently the 60th vote required did come from GOP Senator John Cornyn of Texas, who, I cannot even make this up, was not even in Washington, D.C. at the time. They had to rush this guy in from the Dulles airport. It was a big piece of chaos, and frankly, not a very good look for a pathetic rhino loser who already needs to be primaried in 2026 anyway. But that's neither here nor there. The good news, I guess you could say, is that the final vote count is indeed 60 votes to reopen the U.S. government, 40 votes for no. It passes. It will pass the House. The U.S. government will be reopened by, at the very least, Thanksgiving. Now, feel free to go watch our prior video if you want the full breakdown on what this bill does. But in essence, the Democrats completely got humiliated here, because you may remember that they spent a record 40 days, as they keep on telling you, saying we will not fund the government, will not give a single inch for a single day if you do not add the Obamacare tax credits to the funding bill. And what did Chuck Schumer just do, guys? Move forward and fund the government without the Obamacare tax credit. So it's a complete humiliation for the Democrats. And as you could expect, what I want to talk about today is the quite predictable party infighting that has erupted as a result of this pathetic showing by the Democrats. Both the fake infighting and the real infighting, right? And I think that distinction is worth noting. The fake infighting is Chuck Schumer pretending like he is against opening the government, and it's just this pair of like 8 rogue Democrat senators who decided to do their own thing. The fake kayfabe infighting is Hakeem Jeffries pretending like he's against the Democrat senators and we're not going to vote for the continuing resolution in the House. Yeah, guess what? There's no filibuster in the House. Everyone knows, right? You guys totally colluded on this. But the thing is, my opinion doesn't matter. I'm a general Republican voter, right? The opinion, though, that does matter is coming from the Democrat electorate, who is seeing through the exact same thing we are seeing and basically saying, no, Chuck Schumer, absolutely you caved. Okay, your little game here to pretend like it wasn't you is ridiculous. And of course, what are you now seeing? Mounting calls for Schumer to resign as leader, and definitely both for him and Jeffries, the threats of primary challengers from the radical, insane progressive wing coming up here in future elections. So we'll break that all down for you, as again, the government has officially been funded in the Senate as of tonight. First though, guys, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. That's the best way to support our work. It also ensures that you can stay up to date with all of the latest news and coverage. And with that said, okay, let's start by taking a listen here to the quite hilarious Bernie Sanders meltdown. Okay, he just can't believe it. The party caved. I don't run the whole show. No, how am I going to, completely be the puppet master for Chuck Schumer? And we'll show you what he had to say. But then I want to show you later on what Schumer and Jeffries and these other people are saying, because it is so ridiculously fake. Nonetheless, check it out.
The way the process has been developed, it is impossible to delay the votes that are going to take place. And if that were not the case, that is certainly what I would do, because I think it is important that the American people fully understand what is being voted on today. Everybody in America knows that our current healthcare system is broken, it is dysfunctional, it is cruel, it is by far the most expensive healthcare system in the world.
Thanks to Obamacare.
And the only healthcare system of any major country that does not guarantee healthcare to all people as a human right, covering every man, woman, and child. We are unique in that respect. And yet tonight, what this Senate is about to do is make a horrific situation even worse. So let's be clear what this vote is about. If this vote succeeds, over 20 million Americans are going to see at least a doubling in their premiums in the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, so I'm a progressive socialist. But apparently I also support Obamacare, which is literally corporate socialism, right? It is subsidies and tax breaks and all these things for the 1%, the greedy corporations at the cost of the American people, by the way. Again, Obamacare is the reason why everyone's health insurance is so expensive. But of course, the Democrat solution is to sit there and defend a failed status quo. And as I pointed out in the last video, it's kind of interesting. I don't know. The day after Trump said, instead of defending the failed status quo, here's a Republican response to actually transition Americans off of the ACA without creating some type of disaster in the 2026 midterms. Suddenly, yeah, the Democrats are like, let's reopen the government. But also the Democrat senators who voted for it are traitors. It's all just grandstanding, as you know. Zohran Mamdani, another progressive, I'm bringing him up for a reason, right, is saying similar things. He's saying, quote, this deal dramatically hikes healthcare premiums and only exacerbates the affordability crisis. Oh, are you sure this was not a quote said about Obamacare in 2010? Oh, no, it's modern. Oh, that's really interesting, Zohran Mamdani. It should be rejected. Yeah, it should be rejected, right? Zohran says, give $40 billion to greedy insurance companies. Yay, progressivism. We're so authentic. We're so grassroots, guys. Okay, as should any politics willing to compromise on the basic needs of the working people. Yeah, okay. But this is expected from the progressives. What's pretty hilarious is Chuck Schumer himself. Because I think anyone with a brain can see what happened here. If it needs to be explained, essentially, Schumer finally caved and said, I'm going to reopen the government, but I don't want to make it look like I was the one who did it, right? So they basically picked this handful of 8 Democrat senators, Fetterman's one of them, but there's some others, who either were retiring, for instance, the Democrat whip, like second in command to Schumer, Dick Durbin, who is retiring after this term. He voted yes, right? They basically picked some like moderate state senators, apparently a bunch of the people who are not up for re-election until 2028 or 2030, so they don't face the backlash. But then Schumer's going to say, look, it wasn't me, but it clearly was. This, by the way, is the same thing they did with Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, right? When it came to, Joe Biden and Schumer basically not wanting to pass progressive legislation. But with that said, here is Schumer, like pretending to be stunned over his party caving to Donald Trump, when, of course, we all know he's the one caving to Donald Trump. But let's listen to the fake performance he's about to put on in terms of, absolutely, I did not want this to pass when he did.
Premiums will spike by thousands of dollars a month. Millions will lose insurance. Democrats have sounded the alarm. We have demanded for months to meet with the Republican leadership. But Republican leaders refuse to even discuss the issue, let alone negotiate it. We've asked them to meet in the summer and throughout the shutdown. To this day, Republicans still say no.
And you said yes to opening the government. So, good job, Chucky. You really are a fantastic negotiator here.
The healthcare crisis is so severe, so urgent, so devastating for families back home that I cannot in good faith support this CR that fails to address the healthcare crisis. But let me be clear, however this vote turns out, this fight will and must continue. Democrats must fight because millions of families will lose health care coverage. We must fight because children who are dying of cancer will not get health care coverage. We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin. And make no mistake about it, the American people know who is inflicting this healthcare trauma on them. Donald Trump and the Republicans.
Actually, Chuck, you know what the American people know? They know that you're a fake and insincere person, and this is all a performance. Absolutely, you are the one who made the deal behind the scenes to reopen the government. And you getting out there and saying, oh, I cannot in good conscience vote for this. Nobody's falling for it. Why didn't you just vote? Yeah, you should have just voted yes, honestly. Just admitted to it, owned up to exactly what you did, just like when you reopened the government, or I should say just voted to fund the government back during the spring. But guys, don't take it from me. I'm just a right-wing propagandist. Take it from members and key high-ranking politicians within Chuck Schumer's own party who know the same thing we did, right? Chuck got humiliated. He totally caved. He gave up. And, well, he sucks. He sucks at this. Either you should have just kept the government open, or, don't keep it for 40 days and then say, oh, I got nothing done, but it wasn't my fault. It was your fault. Here's, for instance, the response from California Governor Gavin Newsom. One word: pathetic. That's all he has to say. This may be the first time ever, but I actually agree with Gavin Newsom on that assessment. Yes, that is very accurate. We have more words from progressive Democrat Congressman Representative Ro Khanna, who says the following. So he's openly calling for Chuck Schumer to be replaced, right? Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. If you can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans, what will you fight for? I don't know, Ro Khanna. That's actually a pretty interesting question. Even, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Walsh, and this is a good indicator, because if you want to say Ro Khanna's from the progressive wing and they're going to say what they're going to say, they've always been against Schumer, then take a listen to MSNBC and Joe Walsh, two big-time mouthpieces for the establishment wing of the Democrat Party. And even Walsh is like, this was totally on Schumer, and they're pissed. Okay, they're fuming. The Democrats, guys, are fuming at Chuck Schumer tonight, to say the least. Take a listen.
Do you think Chuck Schumer needs to go after tonight?
He should have gone a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Yes. Yes, you talk about aim and not meeting the moment, right? Every time he gets in front of a camera, the average Democratic voter out there screams, be done with you, be done. And this will only accelerate that. Yes,
Joe,
I think
do you think the left is headed for a Tea Party-like moment here? I mean, I know that you're new to being a Democrat and you're not like some big lefty or progressive, but this does seem to fit the argument that they have been making, that some of these older or more moderate and establishment figures just aren't ready to meet this moment. Generational change is needed. This sort of seems like if you're one of them, you're running on this. You're challenging
I'll tell
people.
you what, if I were on set with you all right there, I'm yanking off my mic and I'm hugging you. I'm giving you a big high five. You are exactly right.
Yeah, so even the neocon establishment loser, who is now a Democrat, saying the same exact thing. That's like the Liz Cheney wing, just so you understand. Same thing. The center hates Chuck Schumer. The middle hates Chuck Schumer. The far left hates Chuck Schumer. Everyone hates Chuck Schumer, okay? Finally, America is unified around something. But anyways, I want you to also take a listen here to another pathetic loser, that is House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, because he's putting on the same bullcrap like kayfabe act as Chuck Schumer himself, right? So here's what he had to say. House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries vows to fight on, and he is kind of pretending here like he's the one turning on Chuck Schumer. The kayfabe infighting again. House Democrats have consistently maintained that bipartisan legislation that funds the government must also decisively address the Republican healthcare crisis. For 7 weeks, Democrats in the House and Senate have waged a valiant fight on behalf of the American people. It now appears that Senate Republicans will send the House of Representatives a spending bill that fails to extend the Obamacare tax credits. As a result of the Republican refusal to address the healthcare crisis they created, tens of millions of everyday Americans are going to see their costs skyrocket. Many will not be able to afford a doctor when they or their children need one. America's far too expensive, thanks to the Democrats, by the way. We will not support spending legislation advanced by Senate Republicans that fails to extend the Obamacare tax credits. We will fight the GOP bill. We're going to fight, guys, in the House of Representatives, where Mike Johnson will be compelled to end the 7-week Republican taxpayer-funded vacation, blah, 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 basically saying House Democrats are not going to support this. Except, again, there's no filibuster in the House, which means that House Democrats don't need to support this. This will go back and it will easily pass with only Republican support if it has to. So, again, here you have a guy pretending to fight but not fighting. It's the same story as Schumer. Do you notice that? Right? And all these, some Democrats are saying, oh, okay, Hakeem Jeffries is better than Chuck. He's doing a good job. He's fighting. Fighting that's completely inconsequential. He's just grandstanding. They're all just freaking grandstanding, But it's pretty hilarious to witness. That said, the issue, as you could expect, as Eric Dot right here points out, and by the way, all over the internet, right? You go and look at what leftists are saying, Democrats are saying. I've not seen a single comment that's saying, oh, it was genuinely Chuck Schumer. It was not just, or it was genuinely the rogue Democrats, not Chuck Schumer, right? Everyone knows it was Chuck Schumer. That's why they're saying liberals are demanding Chuck Schumer immediately be ousted as minority leader and primary challenged by AOC. He indeed has even lost the grips of the moderates in his own party, because even moderate, quote unquote, Joe Walsh is saying the same thing. So that's pretty hilarious to witness. And by the way, on that same front, look, this only just gave a bunch of more energy to the lunatic, crazy progressives in 2026 primaries, as you could expect. Even just this morning, we saw a headline from the New York Post talking about how the lefty progressive Gen Z, oh boy, Gen Z Democrats, that's going to be a riot. But anyways, Gen Z New York City Councilman Chai Ose gears up for a primary challenge against Hakeem Jeffries. So there's going to be a progressive challenge against Jeffries. I'm sure you've already seen the signs of this nationwide, and progressives are threatening that. They're trying to say that, look, we're going to cause you pain in the election.
Full Obamacare subsidies in that bill. Anything short of that, you tell them to go fucking kick rocks. Because I got news for you. The election was loud and clear. The other thing that's loud and clear is Trump's fucking approval rating and how his approval rating is plummeting. Okay, people are blaming Trump and the Republicans for this shutdown. So to fucking fold right now for peanuts to not get the thing you were fighting for is completely and utterly unacceptable. Chuck Schumer needs to fucking resign. He needs to resign for bungling this so fucking badly. You vote no unless and until there are full Obamacare subsidies in that bill. Period. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. 202-224-654. Call Chuck Schumer. I'm sure a staffer will answer, or you'll have to leave a message. Be respectful, but be very clear and say, listen, the election was clear. You should not cave. Do not cave. Caving is stabbing all those voters who just supported Democrats directly in the back. You only vote for a bill if it has the full Obamacare subsidies. Full stop. And if they continue to say no for it, okay, well, that's on you. You own this economy. You own all the pain. You own all the destruction. And be prepared for 2026 when your asses get routed 10 times worse than you just got routed.
Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but in his gigantic meltdown that already has about 200,000 views, he didn't even give the right phone number. Okay, did you notice that? It's only 9 digits long. It's supposed to be 10 in the United States. So, that's how angry he was. He didn't even give his audience the right information. They're going to be kind of trying to call Chuck Schumer and being like, why is no one answering? Why is the sound just going, dud, dud, dud? But, Kyle, okay, so you say we're going to get destroyed in the election. By who exactly? By who? Because you're going out here and saying, boycott the establishment Democrats, okay? So where's your votes going to be? Oh, no, don't worry. We're going to have the progressive primary challengers. I hope you succeed. I really do. But if you do succeed, so what? Oh, we're going to get wrecked in the election by who, right? The only Democrats who outperformed in the election were actually the establishment Democrats who ran moderate campaigns. Now, are they real moderates? No, but they messaged themselves on basically being in the center. That was Abigail Spanberger and that was Mikey Sherrill. Okay, Zohran Mamdani, as we pointed out time and time again, got what? 50%, basically exactly of the vote in New York City. That's not a strong performance. By the way, how did Omar Fattah do? How did all the other progressive copycats do? They got destroyed. So good luck with that, seriously. But that said, the good news here, right? We won this battle on so many levels because they didn't get their stupid Obamacare that is raising the health insurance costs. And now the Republicans actually have the time to present an alternative solution, which they absolutely need to do. But they didn't get that. Democratic leadership absolutely humiliated themselves, right? Not going to be, say, a good sign for voter turnout going into next year. But also, you did just give a bunch of energy to the progressives who are trying to coup out electable candidates for unelectable candidates. So there you go. I love to see this so much. Okay, this is like the funniest thing ever. And that said, what else can we say? But sit back, guys, and grab your popcorn. This is going to be an very entertaining, not just next week, but even the next year as we watch the ramifications of Chuck Schumer totally failing. So that said, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.